You do not need millions of views to succeed on YouTube as a business. You do not need hundreds of thousands of subscribers, and you do not need to spend years building a channel before you see any meaningful return. In fact, if you're a founder running a startup or perhaps a marketing lead and you're comparing yourselves to creator channels, you are playing the wrong game entirely. Creators play tennis, long rallies, years of back and forth, figuring it out publicly, but businesses play darts. Fewer throws, but each one deliberate, where you're scoring with precision, not volume. In this video, I'm going to break down the fundamental differences between creator channels and business channels, why chasing creator metrics will lead you astray, and why your business actually has a significant edge on YouTube that most founders completely overlook. Oh, and before we dive into all, hi, I'm Calum, and I've scaled multiple brand channels into the hundreds of thousands of subscribers and generated tens of thousands of leads through YouTube for my employers over the years. And now I'm building a full stack YouTube agency with my co-founder Ed, so we can do the same for our clients. Let me quickly start by defining what I actually mean when we talk about creator channels versus business channels. A creator channel is typically started by an individual, someone passionate about a subject, a field, a style of content. Think your early day Ali Abdaals, Colin and Samir's, and Mr. Beasts. They start making videos because they enjoy making videos, and they're often, at this stage, quite cash poor, but energy rich. They are happy to document, experiment, and just figure things out as they go. The business side typically comes later for them, sometimes much later. They build an audience first, and then they monetize it through ads, sponsorship, merchandise, courses, and communities. The monetization is built on top of the audience they have painstakingly grown over the years. A business channel, however, operates on a completely different logic. You already have a product or a service, and you likely already have customers. You likely already have marketing infrastructure in place as well. Email lists, a CRM, a sales team, landing pages, payment systems, but the key difference here is maturity. Businesses often have strong pre-established systems and channels in place to optimize for lead generation, sales, and audience engagement. Creators, on the other hand, build these slowly over time as they figure out what to monetize and how. It's the same platform, YouTube, but fundamentally different objectives. I often describe this distinction as the difference between a game of tennis and a game of darts. Tennis is a really long rally, back and forth. The creator learns from each exchange, you adapt your play, and you build stamina over many games, many sets, and many matches. The timeline here is measured in years. Take Ali Abdaal, for example. He's been on YouTube for nearly a decade. He started making videos about studying for medical exams. Then he pivoted to productivity, and then YouTube growth and personal growth. He has built a substantial audience and various business endeavors around his YouTube channel over this time. But it took years of iteration, experimentation, and very public evolution. Or take Colin and Samir. They famously made videos for 5 years where, in their own words, nobody was watching.
We had reached a negative balance in our bank account of $18,000 and trying for 6 years to make it on YouTube, and it just didn't work. In that 6 years, it was like two guys meeting up to make a YouTube video that no one's gonna watch and it's not gonna make any money, but we're gonna stay up all night making it.
Then they went stratospheric. And now they're known as the YouTubers, featuring in Rolling Stone magazine and other major media outlets. But that success came after half a decade of rallying back and forth with the algorithm, learning what worked and refining their format. That is the tennis game, and it's a near endless back and forth that becomes more complex the wider your audience grows and the more diluted your viewer base becomes. The darts in this analogy know what the end result needs to be. There's a very clear goal: business growth. Every video is calculated to perform a specific function, whether it's awareness, authority, demonstration, positioning, expertise. The videos perform different roles at various stages of your marketing funnel, with each one aimed at hitting a key metric. It is targeted, it is optimized, and it's very often supported by a much more mature setup. Take one of our clients, Fjorden. We created 3 videos with them over 3 months. These videos were not blockbuster successes. One had around 24,000 views. One had around 12,500, and one a modest 19,000. Modest numbers by large creator standards. At the time of recording this video, those 3 single videos had led to somewhere between 30 to 40 sales at €200 a sale. Now that's nearly €8,000 from 3 videos. Now imagine if there was a video a week coming out. Those 3 videos suddenly become 20, 30, 40 videos in a year, and the sales multiply proportionally. That is why it's dangerous for business owners to compare their early performance to a creator who's been playing tennis for 8 years. Creators have put the time in, they've built up the audience, and they have learned the hard way. They often started out for passion, for fun, or just because they love their topics, and they figured the rest out later. You, as a business owner or a marketing lead, do not have that luxury. Every input needs to be justified, every video release needs to perform somehow for some part of your business. It's dangerous to aim for a multi-million person audience and the impact that drives when you're looking to see results in 1 quarter. It's much better to focus your efforts and your resources, have clear and tangible expectations, and appreciate that this is a bit of a long-term play. Focus on the intent behind all of your content. Let me give you a concrete example of what this looks like in practice. When I was a YouTube team lead at CareerFoundry, we created a video that walked viewers through a free short course. That video featured Maureen, a UX designer who had taken CareerFoundry's career change program, and here she was, now working as a professional UX designer, walking people through the very lead magnet she had taken before enrolling in CareerFoundry's course. Now, the video was not a viral hit. At the time we pulled the data, it had around 36,000 views. Modest by most creator standards, and certainly not the kind of number that would make any kind of headlines. But here was what those 36,000 views actually generated: 1,423 leads, and 3 course enrollments, each at around 5,000 to 6,000 euros. That's roughly 15,000 euros in revenue from one video. Now, the cost of producing that video was maybe 1,000 or 2,000 euros when you factor in the talent fee and the billable hours of the team, but the return on that single video paid for itself many times over. When I first saw those numbers, it fundamentally changed how I understood business YouTube. The video didn't need to go viral. It needed to reach the right people and give them a clear path to the next step. So if I'm in conversation with a founder and they told me they only got 400 views in their last video, here's what I'd say. Excellent, well done. Now tell me, how is your funnel set up? Are the viewers able to easily book a call with you? Can they learn more about your product or service? How are you tracking all this? Without the proper setups in place, you'll never really know whether these 400 views actually mattered. But with clear lead magnets, links, and a business backend in place, you'll find out pretty quickly. If 3% of those 400 people click through to book a call, that's 12 partially qualified leads. And 3% is roughly the click-through rate we typically see on our clients' YouTube channels. Set up the next stages well enough, and that will compound nicely over time. Now that brings me on to the core argument of this video, and that is that businesses actually have a significant edge over creators when it comes to YouTube, and most founders just don't realize it. Now, there's 3 advantages worth understanding here. The first is what I call a mature back end. When a video went live at CareerFoundry, there were already a sophisticated infrastructure sitting there waiting to catch viewers. Someone would watch the video, maybe binge on 4 or 5 more, then they would click through to the website. On the website, they might check out a few articles in the blog, sit on the decision for a while, then they might sign up for a free short course, at which point they would have entered our CRM and our ad targeting systems. Then they might eventually book a call with the sales team, and further down the line still, they might pay for the full course. This process typically took 4 to 6 months, but every step was mapped, tracked, and optimized. What does a creator have to build from scratch to achieve this? Well, an entire business backend, sales teams, payment systems, lead magnets, call booking systems, landing pages, accounting, distribution channels, community management, customer support. I'm running out of fingers here. Often this comes in dribs and drabs on the creator side, built out of necessity as they scale, and usually rather scrappily. You, however, likely already have most of this. YouTube slots right into your existing marketing infrastructure. The second advantage is existing distribution. Creators often start from zero. They rely entirely on the algorithm to surface their work. You do not need to do that. At CareerFoundry, on the launch day of a new video, there was already an entire distribution web in place. There was an editorial team with a blog that had massive amounts of daily traffic, a CRM team with email lists and segments in the tens of thousands, a social team that could distribute the video same day across LinkedIn, Instagram, and internal Slack channels, and Slack communities that housed all our students. There was a sales team that could share the videos and the playlists directly with prospects while they were in conversation. Ultimately, this meant we could get videos in front of our core audience and the right people without relying solely on YouTube's recommendation algorithm. And this is a level of business and marketing maturity that most creators, even the top channels, simply lack. Now you might be thinking, we are not CareerFoundry, we don't have any of this in place. We do not have tens of thousands on our email list or a dedicated social team, and that's fair enough. But ask yourself a few qualifying questions here. Do you have an email list, even a small one? 500, 1,000, 2,000 people? Do you have a sales team perhaps for your product, or just a sales process? Are you active on LinkedIn? Your videos do not need the algorithm to recommend them. You can put them in front of your own network today. For example, do you have a blog or any content that gets organic traffic? Embed the video in the blog and let it work twice for you. Do you have existing clients? Are they likely to share content, perhaps, that makes them look smart for choosing you? If you're answering yes to even 2 or 3 of these, then you're already ahead of most creators that are starting out. The third advantage here is metric clarity. Again, at CareerFoundry, YouTube contributed to nearly €650,000 in attributed sales over my time there. We're able to track all this attribution through a simple field across our lead touchpoints, as well as detailed tracking through UTM links on our videos. From our own channel's attributed leads, we could see which video had generated the most views, the most leads, the most visits, and importantly, the most sales. We knew what a YouTube attributed lead was worth in euros, and that knowledge shaped every content decision that we made. What do creators typically measure instead? Well, they measure things like viewership, audience growth, engagement rates. They focus on making good content, which is important, but the sales part gets figured out later, often much later. A business channel with 1,000 subscribers and a few thousand monthly views can still generate tens of thousands in sales if just 1 or 2 of the clients discover the business, book a call, or pay to access a product or service. Depending on your price points, the maths can work out quite quickly in your favour. Now, a word of caution. We've seen this pattern repeatedly. A business tries to adopt creator tactics, things like punchy hooks, trending formats, personality-driven thumbnails, and they throw a lot of ideas and concepts at the wall, trying these outlier titles without optimizing for their own core audience and their own core product offerings. And it can alienate people pretty quickly who are looking into you. Your core audience does not want cleverness. They want clarity. They want to understand your product, your service, and the outcome that you can offer them. They want connection, and they want a specific problem or pain point solved. They want to connect with you as a founder or a business in a deeper way. When businesses get bogged down in release schedules, viewer growth stats, and chasing creator-style metrics, they often lose focus on what actually matters. Serving their ideal customer with content that will fix their problem or educate them on their business. So do not fall into that outlier trap. So, what videos should you actually make, I hear you ask? Think about formats that lend themselves to a recurring series. People like bingeable content. What series or angle can you take that builds an expectant audience? What content can you create that also showcases business wins? And there are 4 categories here that I would point most businesses towards when starting out. The first is product explainers. This is where you take your viewer through your product, explaining how it works, what the outcomes are, where people can optimize their use of it, and what the intended successes will be. Straightforward, valuable, and directly tied to what you sell. The second is case studies. An in-depth analysis of the problem and challenges a customer faced, how your product or service was the solution, and how they overcame these challenges to achieve a positive outcome. Ultimately, it's just proof that it works, told through someone else's story. Think of the series we produced at CareerFoundry, where we interviewed successful graduates working in a global city like New York in their chosen field. Each video had a similar line of questions, but with varied answers. The packaging and content was familiar to each other from a branding perspective, but each story was unique. The third point here is lead magnet walkthroughs. Like the CareerFoundry short course video I mentioned earlier in this video, you open up and demystify the lead magnet while positioning it as a valuable free resource. You show the value before they ask. If you want more information on this, I've made a video on lead magnets and positioning, and you can check it out here. The fourth is founder authority. This could be a behind the scenes of you building your company, allowing viewers to connect with you more on a personal level. What exciting developments is the company making? What is your perspective on the topics relating to your industry? Recurring formats build familiarity and trust with your viewers. And none of these videos are trying to go viral, that's really not the point here. They build a valuable library of content though for your ideal customer. These videos are essentially a sales team that works 24 hours a day, 7 days a week for you in the background. And going viral is pretty meaningless as a business if nobody is interested in your actual product or service. Unless the viewership converts into leads or sales, it's just a number on YouTube. So if you take one thing away from this video, please let it be this. You do not need big wins, you just need to get started. It's much better to position YouTube as a valuable partner to your business than to make it your core focus. The results will compound over time. The financial and time investments only need to be made once, and you do not need to be a slave to the algorithm. You just need a small library of content that convinces people who discover it that you can solve their problem. So stop asking, how do I get more views? And start asking, what do I do with the views that I do get? Is my content any good? And can I convince a small percentage of whatever views I get to engage further with my business off YouTube? That is the game. It's a game of darts, hopefully, and it's a game you're very much equipped to win. Thank you so much for your time, and I'll see you in the next one.